Making headlines this hour. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz says declarations such as the New York Declaration on the peaceful settlement of the question of Palestine and the implementation of the two-state solution are vital to strengthening international consensus and ensuring accountability for the rights of the Palestinian people. The Maldives expresses full support for the endorsement of the New York Declaration on the peaceful settlement of the question of Palestine and the implementation of the two-state solution. And Attorney General Ahmad Usham says that the amendments proposed by the government for the media regulation bill are designed to protect both media freedom and the rights of the public.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Abdullah Ahil. And now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz says declarations such as the New York Declaration on the peaceful settlement of the question of Palestine and the implementation of the two-state solution are vital to strengthening international consensus and ensuring accountability for the rights of the Palestinian people.
In a post shared on his official X account, President Muiz welcomed the United Nations General Assembly's endorsement of the New York Declaration, reiterating the Maldives' support for the declaration and its call for collective international action. He stressed that such efforts are crucial for strengthening global consensus and safeguarding the rights of the Palestinian people. The president further underscored that the Maldives continues to advocate for an independent and sovereign state of Palestine based on the pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. The Maldives remains committed to working with the international community towards a two-state solution and consistently voices solidarity with the Palestinian cause.
The Maldives expresses full support for the endorsement of the New York Declaration on the peaceful settlement of the question of Palestine and the implementation of the two-state solution. The resolution endorsing the declaration was adopted at the second plenary meeting of the 80th session of the UN General Assembly.
The resolution was passed by the General Assembly with 142 votes in favor, 10 against, and 12 abstentions. This declaration is the outcome document of the high-level international conference for the peaceful settlement of the question of Palestine and the implementation of the two-state solution, co-chaired by the governments of France and Saudi Arabia and held at the United Nations from the 28th to the 30th of July 2025. The declaration conveys a strong commitment to a just and lasting resolution of the Palestinian conflict with a clear vision for the establishment of an independent, sovereign, economically viable and democratic Palestinian state. It reinforces the principles of international law, including respect for territorial integrity, human rights, and the right to self-determination. The Maldives reaffirms its commitment to an independent and sovereign state of Palestine based on the pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital in accordance with the relevant United Nations resolutions and international law.
Attorney General Ahmad Usham says that the amendments proposed by the government for the media regulation bill are designed to protect both media freedom and the rights of the public.
The Attorney General made the remarks in a social media post responding to concerns raised by a member of the public who argued that research as well as stakeholder and expert input were essential before drafting a bill. The commenter also noted that the proposed legislation contained a number of ambiguous provisions. In his response, Usham acknowledged shortcomings in the bill initially submitted to the parliament. He stressed that this was the reason the government reviewed the draft and submitted amendments. The Attorney General emphasized that stakeholder input and consultation are vital during the committee stage of parliamentary review. He added that the government's amendments clarify vague terminology, including definitions related to electronic media. Usham said the government's intention in introducing the amendments was to ensure that there is no unnecessary intrusion into media while ensuring the public is protected from harm and disinformation. He further noted that he believes that the bill establishes broad and necessary principles to address pressing issues of accountability, misinformation, and the responsible handling of information in the media space. These challenges, he said, are real and cannot be ignored, adding that he believes having a legislative foundation is a starting point.
According to Chinese Ambassador Kang Xianhua, China has pledged broad financial and developmental assistance to the Maldives to help the country confront its economic challenges. The commitment was outlined during a press conference focused on bilateral relations and ongoing Chinese-funded projects.
According to Ambassador Kang, China is working closely with the administration of President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu to formulate specific plans for financial support. He elaborated the necessary documentation is expected to be completed by the end of September. A central feature of the proposed aid, he said, is its structure, designed to avoid placing any additional financial burden on the Maldivian government. He described efforts to arrange a flexible arrangement that would allow loans to be repaid over the long term. The ambassador also expressed confidence in the government's ability to manage the country's financial situation and urged the public to maintain trust in its leadership.
The arrangement is very concessional. I should say that the characteristic of this arrangement is that to provide debt relief without enhancing debt ratio, without extra cost.
In addition to financial assistance, Ambassador Kang details several development projects in the Maldives funded through Chinese grant aid. Among them is a hospital project in Vilimale, which has now entered the design bidding phase. Ambassador Kang also explained that preparations are also underway for a road modernization initiative in Vilimale and Male. The ambassador added another project, the construction of 50 council offices, has advanced following the completion of on-site feasibility studies. Ambassador Kang pointed to President Muizzu's recent state visit to China as a pivotal moment in bilateral relations. He said the visit had strengthened ties between the two nations and was expected to yield substantial benefits for the Maldives. He noted that during the visit, 11 memoranda of understanding were signed across key sectors including agriculture, construction, fisheries, renewable energy, and education. The ambassador assured that China is positioned to play a central role in advancing development across these critical sectors.
Minister of Finance and Planning Musa Zamir underscores the critical role of a robust capital market in achieving sustainable development and significantly reducing the nation's reliance on foreign aid and financing.
Speaking at the closing ceremony of the Maldives Finance Forum 2025, an annual gathering organized by the Maldives Pension Administration's Office (MPAO), Minister Zamir highlighted the urgency of diversifying the country's financial landscape. The minister observed that the Maldivian financial system is predominantly dependent on banks, a structure he deems insufficient for the nation's ambitious development goals. He explained that a banking-centric model struggles to provide the extensive financing required for crucial initiatives such as infrastructure development, housing projects, the burgeoning tourism sector, and economic diversification efforts. To foster genuine sustainable development and bolster the domestic revenue system, Minister Zamir asserted the imperative to move away from external financial dependencies, acknowledging that public financing alone is also insufficient for large-scale projects. He explained that a capital market is essential to address these issues, outlining its pivotal role in finding avenues to invest long-term savings, expanding financing opportunities, and increasing the overall viability of the economy. He called for the introduction of diverse investment products, including conventional bonds, sukuk, and sustainability-aligned instruments like green and blue bonds. He added, crucially, these new avenues should also facilitate easier access to capital for small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, and women-led enterprises, fostering inclusive economic growth. Acknowledging that such a transformation cannot be unilaterally driven by the government, the minister stressed the indispensable cooperation of all agencies and companies within the financial ecosystem, reiterating that strategically shaping the financial system in these ways would lead to the sustained growth of both the capital market and the broader financial market of the Maldives.
According to Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Saeed, the government sharply increases the supply of US dollars to businesses at the official exchange rate, aiming to stabilize consumer prices and relieve pressure on household budgets. This announcement comes amid rising public concern over inflation and allegations of foreign currency shortages affecting importers.
Minister Saeed said businesses are now receiving up to 50% of their requested dollar allocations at the fixed rate, a notable rise from the 5 to 10% previously granted to small and medium-sized enterprises by the Bank of Maldives (BML) prior to President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu's administration. Minister Saeed disclosed the figures during a press briefing focused on food security and affordability. The government's decision to intervene, he said, was prompted by reports of uncontrolled price increases on commonly consumed goods. To counter this trend, the cabinet directed the State Trading Organization (STO) to undertake bulk imports of essential staples, including rice, sugar, and flour. The organization has also been tasked with importing the 10 most frequently consumed fruits and vegetables, along with lentils, eggs, and potatoes. Officials say the initiative is designed to ensure a steady supply of key goods at reasonable prices. Minister Saeed addressed allegations that difficulty in obtaining dollars was driving recent price hikes, specifically for apples and oranges. He rejected the claims, citing the increased dollar allocation. Implementation of the directive is already underway. The STO began selling oranges in the market last week and has pledged continuous availability of both oranges and apples starting next week. From 15th October, the organization is expected to begin importing 23 designated essential food items for public distribution. Shimad Ibrahim, managing director of STO, clarified the financial structure supporting the organization's import operations. He stated that STO had not relied on government-provided dollars during the past 2 Ramadans, instead leveraging its own investment and banking arrangements to secure the necessary foreign currency.
The first ever Neonatal Nurses Conference, an initiative to strengthen specialized care for infants, successfully concludes after 2 days of training and discussion. Organized by the Male City Group of Hospitals, or MCGH, the event brought together nurses from across the nation to improve service quality and standardize care for newborns. The conference, which was held from the 10th to the 11th of September, focused on evidence-based practices and professional networking to address the historical lack of formal neonatal nursing training in the country. It was held at Dharmavanta Hospital, where the opening ceremony was inaugurated by First Lady Sajida Mohammed. 2 nurses from hospitals in Male and the atolls participated, with more than 40 attending in person and an additional 30 joining online. Organizers noted the conference was a significant success, creating a platform for nurses to share best practices and forge professional connections. Participants engaged in expert-led sessions, simulation-based learning, and discussions on neonatal care, including using new technology and ensuring patient-centered service delivery. The importance of providing compassionate care and support to vulnerable newborns and their families was also emphasized. Feedback from attendees was overwhelmingly positive, with many expressing that they learned valuable new information and skills. The MCGH, which includes Indira Gandhi Memorial Hospital, or IGMH, Hulu Male Hospital, and Dharmavanta Hospital, highlighted the significance of strengthening the network among neonatal intensive care unit, or NICU, nurses throughout the Maldives. The group operates NICUs with a combined 42 beds across 3 hospitals to provide specialized care for the approximately 1,000 infants who require critical treatment each year. Following its successful first edition, the MCGH expressed its commitment to expanding the conference in the future to include even more participants. The Public Service Media, or PSM, extends the nomination deadline for its inaugural Chalu Divihiraj Award, a national initiative aimed at recognizing outstanding achievements across the Maldivian islands. The new deadline of the 20th of September follows a surge of interest from city and island councils eager to participate.
Conceived as the first national-level honor of its kind, the Chalu Divahiraja Award, translated as the Beautiful Maldives Award, seeks to celebrate the efforts of island communities in preserving the natural environment and promoting the country's cultural heritage. The program reflects a growing emphasis on sustainability and tradition as pillars of national identity. According to PSM, the award is intended to spotlight islands that excel in areas such as environmental protection, responsible tourism, and community development. It also aims to recognize innovative approaches to local governance and the preservation of customs and traditions that define the Maldivian way of life. Eligible councils may submit nominations exclusively through the official portal. Awards will be presented in 7 categories, each reflecting a distinct aspect of island excellence: most beautiful beach, most friendly community, island with innovative thinking in sustainable development, cleanest and most environmentally friendly island, most responsible island for local tourism, most picturesque island destination, and the highest honor, Chalu Island of the Year.
The European Central Bank, or ECB, leaves interest rates unchanged as expected, but offered no clues about its next move, even as investors continue to bet that more support will be needed as inflation dips below target next year.
The ECB halved its key rate in the year to June, but has been on hold at 2% since, arguing that the economy of the 20-country Eurozone is in a good place even if more easing cannot be ruled out. Recent data has confirmed this sanguine view, giving policymakers time to understand how U.S. tariffs, higher German government spending, looming Federal Reserve rate cuts, and political turmoil in France might impact growth and inflation.
The Governing Council today decided to keep the 3 key ECB interest rates unchanged. Inflation is currently at around our 2% medium-term target, and our assessment of the inflation outlook is broadly unchanged.
Money markets priced in a 50% chance of one last cut by next spring, even as they expect the Fed to ease U.S. borrowing costs 6 times by the end of 2026. Inflation is now seen at 1.9% in 2027, below the 2.0% projected in June, and core inflation is seen at 1.8% then, both below the ECB's 2% target, fresh projections showed.
The United Nations Security Council condemns recent strikes on Qatar's capital Doha, but did not mention Israel in the statement agreed to by all 15 members, including the United States.
Israel attempted to kill the political leaders of Hamas with the attack, escalating its military action in what the United States described as a unilateral attack that does not advance U.S. and Israeli interests.
Unilateral bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation working very hard and bravely taking risks alongside the United States to broker peace, does not advance Israel's or America's goals. That said, it is inappropriate for any member to use this to question Israel's commitment to bringing their hostages home.
The United States traditionally shields its ally Israel at the United Nations. U.S. backing for the Security Council statement, which could only be approved by consensus, reflects President Donald Trump's unhappiness with the attack ordered by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The widely condemned Doha operation was especially sensitive because Qatar has been hosting and mediating negotiations aimed at securing a ceasefire in the Gaza war.
Violence brings violence. Impunity breeds war. Silence in the international community and of this very Security Council fuels chaos. And yet, this very council remains constrained, unable even to name the aggressor, to qualify aggression as a violation of international law.
Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani accused Israel of trying to derail efforts to end the war in Gaza by attacking Hamas leaders in Doha, but pledged to continue its mediation efforts. Pakistan also questioned whether the release of hostages held by Hamas was a priority for Israel. Algeria voiced its disappointment that the Security Council statement was not stronger. According to Gaza Health Ministry, more than 64,000 people, also mostly civilians, have since been killed during the war in Gaza.
Liverpool fans will be eager to see Premier League record signing Alexander Isak make his debut at Burnley this weekend, but manager Arne Slot says the Swede would be eased into the team gradually.
Isak completed a £125 million switch from Newcastle United to the Premier League champions on transfer deadline day, bringing an end to a transfer saga that had dragged on throughout the close season. The 25-year-old has played only 18 minutes this season, with his sole appearance coming off the bench for Sweden in their 2-0 defeat by Kosovo on Monday. Slot praised Sweden coach Jon Dahl Tomasson for using Isak sparingly and said Liverpool would also manage his minutes. Liverpool were also close to signing Crystal Palace defender Mark Guehi on deadline day, but a deal for the England international fell through. Liverpool are top of the league table with 9 points from 3 matches.
Apple shows off a new phone, slimmer iPhone Air model with a high-density battery and a brand new processor priced starting at $999.
The iPhone Air model was the star of the annual product launch event, with CEO Tim Cook calling it a game changer. Apple said the model is its most durable iPhone yet. It will use the A19 Pro, a processor chip that it said it had tweaked for better energy efficiency and performance to match the device's thinner battery. Its price is slotted in between the company's other models, as analysts has predicted. The company also launched the iPhone 17 and iPhone 17 Pro, the latest upgrade to its flagship smartphone, as well as a new version of its AirPods Pro wireless headphones and a blood pressure monitor in its latest Apple Watch. The company effectively cut or held prices steady on these updated models. Apple said the base model iPhone 17 will have a brighter, more scratch-resistant screen. It will also have a better front-facing camera with a differently shaped sensor to make horizontal selfies look better.
Today, we have a huge day of announcements about AirPods and Apple Watch, and we're taking the biggest leap ever for iPhone. Let's start with AirPods. AirPods are the best and most popular headphones in the world. From an effortless setup, to their amazing sound quality, to working seamlessly across your Apple products. Today, we're building on these innovations and extending our leadership in world-class audio quality with the introduction of the next generation of AirPods Pro.
A 256GB version of the iPhone 17 base model starts at $799, the same as the previous iPhone 16 model with half the storage space. The iPhone 17 Pro starts at $199 for a 256GB model, the same as the previous year's model with the same storage size, but without the option of a smaller capacity phone at a lower $999 like the iPhone 16 Pro. The new AirPods Pro 3 will feature live translation of languages. Apple also said that if both people in a conversation are wearing the new AirPods Pro 3, the earbuds will translate conversations in near real time. Apple said the new AirPods will be priced at $249, the same as the previous generation, and become available on September 19th. The company's product launch event comes amid a global trade reordering sparked by US President Donald Trump, with Apple estimating that tariffs will cost it more than $1 billion in the current fiscal quarter.
And that's all the news we have for today. We'll be back with any further updates. Until then, I'm Abdullah Ahil from PSM News.